we get? Yes!
Wow.
We get the Finka, and there's a really, really good reason as to why I knew this was probably going to happen, and it's Gunnar. You have to take this Finka away from Gunnar. He's currently one of the best players in the entire region. Second best at the current moment, actually, as he's a literal single decimal point past Grixer, rather, not Rexen, but Grixer for the Sonics at a 1.21 at the current moment. And also has the second most kills in the NAL at 86. This is definitely going to put a damper on his Villa performance. And, you know, just for the sake of conversation, I thought that this would be fun too, because I just saw this stat. But did you know that the top 3 players currently in the NAL all prioritize using Finka on offense?
That's
Pretty
crazy.
interesting. Never would have guessed that one.
Never would have thought that in a million years. But obviously not going to be able to get the comfort pick of Finka this time around. She'll be knocked out along with a lot of our other power players, Azami being one of them, as well Valkyrie will be removed from play at the same time too. Been seeing her still stay pretty high in the ban pool, specifically for Villa. This is a map with a lot of prop clutter, a lot of even ceiling clutter as well, so there's a lot of places to hide those cameras, and it's just a bit too pesky to be dealing with, so it's going to get knocked out by TSM.
I think the biggest thing you could really talk about at the current moment is the fact that we have the Thatcher banned out, and also we have the Kaid in. But the good news about Villa is that there's not too much hatch play to go around, where Kaid is going to make things just really complicated for the offense when they try to work their way in. So we'll see what Parabellum can possibly do with a majority of the defensive utility on the board. Obviously, the Valk cams, like Blue was talking about, going to be lacking, but past that, pretty plain Jane at the end of the day. Gonna have a full extension all the way over to the AVG side for TSM. It looks like they really want to hold on to the full breadth of this top floor, including the stairwell, as Bolo will apply his deployable shield accordingly.
We're just sitting back, waiting for a spawn peek opportunity. Not going to get it, though, so we'll quickly move away from that position. Looks like the large majority, if not everybody from Parabellum, ended up spawning on the north side of the map anyway, so wouldn't have been an opportunity even if we had players over there. So not going to be able to catch that happening. He'll more than likely fall back into a safer position afterwards here. Still going to see the extension into AVG, probably stay alive for a bit longer into the round until we get a better glimpse of what Parabellum's executing in towards. They'll start to change that over the next few moments. As you can see here, members of PB starting to work their way in through the windows surrounding the master bath and a bedroom. That'll cause an alert on the side of TSM, and they'll start to draw more attention to this area themselves.
It's a slow roll for Parabellum instead of the opening minute. Achieved the only one home right now inside of statue and trophy, but might not be known by Parabellum just yet. And actually, Chala is inside of astronomy at a second glance, so doesn't have to be too worried, at least about this far-reaching area, unless it gets frag grenaded right now, and it seems like that'll be fairly straightforward, and it will be. Blaz with a frag, an immediate tag of Chala. So it'll be our first death here on Villa. I'll put Parabellum ahead, at least for this moment. Achieved will continue to be able to hold on to Trophy, or rather Statuary, as it'll be Geo inside of Trophy. Some smokes down now, and Bolo with a missed frag on the Windows swing, as Geo will actually be the one to pick up Penguin.
Get ourselves back into color here now as well. Geo continuing to wait for more challenges to come his direction here. Bolo will now be able to spring into action from the top of the stairs, but Blaz trades it back out into his own team's favor. Kool-Aid also picking up another kill, putting PB back in control and nearly pushing the envelope that much further with a near second kill. Going out against, I believe, Merc in this scenario here. Not going to be able to make it happen, and the impact does make its mark against Blaz. So he'll be brought down incredibly low. Plat now coming onto the board here for Kool-Aid. It won't be interrupted by that Nitro, but it will finish off Blaz. He's now down, but at the same time, the case is down, and we're locked into a 2v2 post plan.
Oh, could be a 2v1 pretty quick, and it will be. Kool-Aid maintaining movement, wants to make sure that he's not stuck in the mud inside of Statuary, and it's a beautiful move as he goes for bench and is able to take down the TSM member. It's up to Achieve now to try and clutch things out, but beautiful stuff from Parabellum inside of this post plant, abusing this bench rotation that was made earlier on. They'll be able to hold on to this for some time. Achieve tries to flick back with the SMG-11, but Kool-Aid has an SMG pistol of his own. It'll take him down with the bearing. Beautiful round there from Parabellum that they built up pretty early on, able to start applying pressure to a lot of TSM's on-site setup, and immediately getting Chala out of Astro, making it a fairly straightforward affair from that moment on.
So we're going to go rotate after this, since TSM does not feel the replay on the second floor and hold, nor do they feel a retreat to the AVG, which is generally where C teams tend to start out. This is a site as well where TSM had a little bit more of a bumpier time they played against Exit, so instead they're going to go downstairs into Kitchen, where things have been working out a bit better historically so far in the stage for the squad here. Not the greatest start to things for TSM, but they're looking to get a quick rebound. At the same time, Parabellum going to adjust their lineup accordingly, and probably going to see a few more repicks, considering they're now going to be going up against a downstairs take. The Twitch, for instance, on Blaz going to get ditched from a Nomad. Lion is back in the fold here for Penguin to be able to isolate out the positions of any mobile members of TSM, and aside from that, a fairly standard lineup.
It should make it pretty easy for Parabellum to work the map the way that they want to. We are going to have some Electro Claws down low they might have to worry about, but Penguin's immediately shifting back over to the Twitch, and that could be simply because that they want to get rid of these Electro Claws. But as we talked about earlier, this could make it a little difficult because you can see Chala's got the mute here, so he's probably going to end up mute jamming a lot of the drone holes as well as doors and everything else in between that would allow Parabellum to sneak a Twitch drone in there and get rid of that Electro Claw that's actually downstairs inside of Kitchen. So with that being said, PB have to find will and a way to work around this if they so choose to go for Master. Otherwise, they have to try and funnel to the concrete statue side or go over for Astro, which could be some easy kills for TSM depending on the situation, but it's going to take some time to get there first.
Although still sitting back, waiting for his first opportunity to make impact. Going to be pressed upon him relatively soon, with PB wanting to leap in and take master control. Unfortunately, Bullet will lose the element of surprise from his position here. It's going to be just thrown out not just once, but twice as well. With the drone working its way through the doors, kind of reconfirming his position and making it very, very hard for him to do anything from an aggressive standpoint here. So he'll still keep the position, thankfully, as he's got a lot of teammate support in the area achieved as well, trying to go for a bit of a bold pre. First, a bit short on the angle swings, not going to be able to get the full damage out, but this is a powder keg being built up really on both sides here, and it's all up to Parabellum about when they want to light it, if they even want to light it. There's a lot of TSM members ready to fend off this aggression should they decide to go for it.
Kool-Aid's going to get the pick onto Achieved. It's going to be, I believe, the Astro player down. So Bolo and Merc, the only two left alive on the top floor. But Merc will be able to reinsert himself over towards the trophy and does still have impact to be able to try and reclaim Astro if he so chooses. And actually, speaking of which, Bolo might be the one to do so after Merc goes down to Blaz. It'll be an immediate trade out of the MX4 Storm. And Bolo looking for more, looking to show exactly why we say this man's name constantly and want to know when he's playing. Well, he's got a 2K for himself on the top floor, and he's stunted Parabellum. They couldn't get that triple wall earlier on, even though there was an angle in it. The Electro Claw made it to where Parabellum couldn't give themselves more angles to try and work with, and now TSM are decimating them as they try to clear the map.
Well, here, count his lucky stars. There's no one waiting for him at the bottom of Laundry as well here. Usually that's an instant trade, but unfortunately Parabellum don't have the positions made up at that point in the rounds. They're not able to find him, and things continue, unfortunately, to fall apart past that point. So it's a very one-sided defense, all in the favor of TSM being built off of that great play from Bolo.
Absolutely. That top floor defense is really what did it for TSM there, and it's all due to the utility game. Yes, some amazing shots from a multitude of the TSM members, but, you know, if that wall isn't set up the way it is upstairs, then Parabellum more than likely have control of trophy and statuary. Lickety-split. There's nothing else you're really going to do. That Electro Claw being downstairs and preventing any of the Parabellum utility from affecting it is what helped lock down that round. So the strategy, sound, and the gameplay truly influential from TSM. Now they've gotten themselves one round, but a long road ahead of us here for both of these teams, as it feels like both of these rounds so far have been pretty grueling. We're going to work our way into round 3, and it's bound to be an exciting one as we head into living room for the first time in quite some time.
Let's see here how TSM will fare as they go for a second first floor hold. Once again, moving away from the kind of general expectation of site rotations, but giving us something new here, as we're also going to see an Oryx come out for Merc, which is not something we've generally tended to see out of TSM specifically. Obviously, we've gotten a bit more play from him in the past, but...
Actually, a little bit of a caveat to this. I do believe Merc actually has the most Oryx played on the stage. Okay, yes, indeed. Cool. Yeah, and that was more or less what I wanted to point out, because we were talking about it on the analyst desk.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that Merc has been playing routinely. I mean, Oryx is a pretty interesting op when you look at him, just because the rotations and stuff that he can make, really not that great. You take damage for doing it, not something you're exactly looking to do in a game of Rainbow Six. But there is one big piece of his puzzle that is just amazing. It happens to be his passive and the fact that you can jump up hatches, and that makes it to where you're a whole different kind of beast on the roam in comparison to some other ops you could put inside of a very similar position. And speaking of positions, Parabellum, they have the whole flank unit, the entire enchilada of this utility game moving its way through Piano. Penguin actually going to go all the way downstairs. Could see an air jab set up just for the flank to make sure that nobody's going to come through red. But what is Gunner supposed to be doing here? Do you believe he still has all of his track stingers? Yes, indeed. So more than likely holding on to those just to guarantee that none of the TSM members have a good bead on Parabellum.
As time continues to tick down here, we still have that very, very slow potential duel being built up at the bottom of the red stairs position. Obviously, you can see Geo that might be able to support this a little bit, assuming that the wall is soft. I'm not sure if it is or not, though. I was not able to catch the best glimpse of that. Either way, Eska, a little bit closer to the front of the building, has already snuck his way into library. He's going to be able to check out Art Vault as a result of that. And I mean, we just got a free plant being built up here for Parabellum. Where's the resistance? We don't see any of it coming from the top-down angles either. There's a drop, but it's set up for Parabellum to stop exactly that. Chala goes down inside of that drop, and TSM are seemingly none the wiser to the fact that this plan even happened.
I mean, we're all so focused on what's going on red stairs, and Parabellum, they've got the real info game, and it's what's going on inside of library, which is absolutely nothing for the defense. Not a single person there to try and stop Parabellum from putting a plant down. No angles to support it either, and that's why this post plant's been so damn easy. It's going to be a free wash of the board for Parabellum as he'll take down TSM all by droning properly.
Nicely done here from Parabellum. Catches members of the squad with their pants down in a gaping hole in the strategy, and the fact that they had virtually zero library defense at that point in the round, so they quite literally walk right in, even get free post-plant positioning because of the walk-in too, so an easy round ultimately for Parabellum since discovering that problem, but a big blunder from TSM to let it happen in the first place.
Yeah, definitely a weird one. I'm trying to mull over the operator lineup here for TSM. They just really didn't have that much denial for, you know, the downstairs area. You don't have anything like a yokai drone or anything you can try and work off of to potentially manipulate things from the top level. And that just really sucks for TSM because they don't have an answer for anything over on that end of library. They have no information to know when it's going on initially. They have no answer for if a plant starts going down behind that bookshelf. It was just a very distraught moment for TSM. We'll more than likely won't see them going back to library. For the remainder of this half, they'll probably stick to the very plain Jane sight triangle that we usually see, which is that kitchen AVG and trophy statuary setup. And speaking of which, we're back in a trophy statuary with Mira along for the ride.
Mira indeed was allowed into play. We've seen her banned out a little bit today, but she's been able to evade the ban pull for this game just because of the way that the new meta has been shaking up. There's bigger priorities than her in the current state of play in the game, so we're going to see her knocked out, or rather left in this time around, and she's going to be utilized for this next upstairs hold coming in from TSM to deny a bit of that master pressure.
Yes, indeed, and this is a position that we've seen achieved play a numerous amount of times here for Master. The deployable shield on the Master bed, and then he likes to play right inside of this concrete door. He'll be able to prevent any of the drones that roll in as well. If he can land a shot, then he does with that very last one. Very nice achieved, able to fix things up, and able to deal some damage to Parabellum's drone game. But past that, though, he's really just planning to try and slow down Parabellum's take of the Master area and potentially get a kill if he can muster it. So stun grenade in, frag grenade out. Just looking to get rid of the deployable shield now, but it's going to be Chala to get rid of Blaz instead.
Chief now waiting for pick up the second kill, and he should be able to get it here. You can see Penguin trying to juke around the spray, but unfortunately he just sets himself up for his own death there, going for the premature hop-in. He'll go down. Another frag will come out from the side of TSM as they're looking to quickly correct on the mistakes from the third round here, already bringing Parabellum's execute down to just 2 players, and I believe both of them are members of the kind of downstairs clear here as well. Eska, I believe, to correct myself real quick, is going to be left alive upstairs, and now a very well-placed nade from Gunner will at least take out Achieved. A second one could sing too. Gunner, both of them locking in shots, and Holy being open, hopefully a bit more room for Eska to play out his own game in a few seconds.
Everybody's afraid of what lies in the depths, John, and it happens to be 2 frag grenades in the pocket of a Nook. Now it's a 2 versus 3, and strangely enough, this round is palatable for Parabellum. They can actually get this done, and the craziest thing is that Gunnar really has the kit for this. He can sneak around the whole map and avoid all of these cameras, so achieved as much as you want to try and sit and force your will on this camera, Gunnar can just immediately circumvent that. He can just go right around it or through it as long as he has his utility on. Now, this has slowed up the round quite a bit as Parabellum does not want to try and miss out on this clutch opportunity. Eska's worked his way up towards the triple wall here. He's got a soft panel next to him, but obviously is not going to want to breach into that. It'll be a telltale sign of what is going on, and it'll more than likely be gunned down at a moment's notice. He's awaiting Gunnar to rotate all the way across the map, but, well, with that being said, after Eska goes down to Geo, more than likely not going to be the round here for Gunnar. Unfortunate circumstances have befallen Parabellum, and this second round, or rather fourth, going to be TSM's second.
In respect to Gunnar as well as Eska for playing this out in the 2v4 as well as they could have, but ultimately the round was too far gone by the time it had reached the 2vx, so just no real hope for them to be able to bring it back despite the well-placed nades there when we still had 5 players up and standing for TSM. Either way, very solid defense from TSM, just kind of shutting down the early advances from Parabellum and not leaving them, despite the well-placed nades from Gunnar, with much of an opportunity to do anything inside of their clutch. So it's an easy sight locked away for TSM. The game now tied once more, and they'll finally shift over to AVG for the first time in this entire game on the 5th round.
Absolutely. AVG, and usually the site that we see right off rip when it comes to Villa, not played until round 5. And not only that, TSM will not be bringing the Mira setup that we see pretty often when she is in play, so they'll be trying to lean on some other forms of denial past being able to see through that mirror. We'll have some nitro cells as well as some smoke babes coming out of Chala. Potential with some impacts as well from Bo if they so choose, but that could be a pretty interesting fold later on. We could see him even potentially get underneath the planter and open up a hole to remove them from play. Lots of different ways you can try and work this site overall from the defensive end. And speaking of which, it's exactly why TSM are going to throw themselves over towards the master side and try and slow down Parabellum's initial take.
So let's see here if TSM can once again spread themselves out and find themselves a much better hold as a result of that. We've already seen, though, on the downstairs living room hold how spreading the team out can potentially hurt the overall game plan for TSM, as unfortunately led to a gaping hole in their library play that allowed Parabellum to waltz right in. Shouldn't be too much of a problem here, though. This is an extension that is played out much more commonly by defenders, so should be something that TSM is much more familiar with executing into. And obviously, we still have some presence actually left behind to defend the entire site this time, so not expecting the events of round 3 to repeat themselves. Either way, Achieve now patiently waiting for the first bits of aggression to befall his position here, namely in the form of drone, so that he can knock that out. Force back a bit, so there's going to be a Twitch drone, I believe, assuming we've got Twitch on the lineup. We do. So the Twitch drone is going to spot him out, force him downstairs, and make him unable to prevent these bits of entry coming in from both Blaz, and I think a few other members of the squad as well. Push through, knock out at least Bolo, and should be able to open up the rest of the clear here. Merc, though, challenging against the master push. He's able to get an exchange, and another one on top of that as he finds Eska as well. The repel still could get him back, but it's going to be Blaz instead in the connector that's looking to wrangle this control back into the hands of Parabellum, and it'll work. Gunnar finds a kill, but Gionidas back in the fight as well. He rolls up the red stair, steals another kill out of the hands of PB, and keeps the numbers even.
You always got to be worried for a split second when somebody's hitting shots like that and they turn to their teammate. Oh my, Merc almost losing his head there if Geo so chose, but both of these players playing so very well, and Geo almost getting caught in the crossfire of a frag grenade down low again! Oh, this time it's Gunnar, still the same op though, it's the Nook that's able to deal a death blow to Gionidas, and now it's down to Merc. He's been good for 2, but he's got to get another 2 in order to maintain an advantage for TSM.
Merc just going to say silent as a ghost right now, doesn't want to move an inch. Obviously hasn't been droned out from this position just yet. That drone should not have been able to see him unless his shoulder was peeked out for some reason. He as well, though. Oh, he's only just now noticed it, but it's just in time as the peek was about to come out. May have very well saved his life as a result of spotting that drone, but now he'll be pinched from both sides. Can't survive. Penguin will knock him out, and PB gets the lead again at 3-2.
Super unfortunate stuff befalling TSM initially in that round with the way that the stun lock worked out over on the Astro stairs. No one having enough audio really to know that Blaz is flying in through the astronomy window, and he deals so much damage to Parabellum, or rather TSM early on for PB. and just complicating quite a few different things. And yeah, you know, it happens to all of us, Gunnar, so no worries about that. But still making good on his promise when it comes to the frag grenades from underneath, and Parabellum making good on their offensive half as they've guaranteed an at least split side.
Absolutely the case. Chance to push the envelope one step further and lock in a 4-2 attacking side Villa. Certainly alive and well here too. Going to see TSM trying to deny intel here to a pretty big extent as they'll be putting the meter generator down directly next to the laundry door. I'm sure we'll have a few others sprinkled around here too as we'll be back on the kitchen hold for TSM.
I found that Electroclaw too. It's actually right above the bomb chassis on the arch there for dining. So if anybody at home wants to apply an Electroclaw that's pretty cheeky, that's how you get what Bolo is reinforcing. No, there it is, electrified, just like that. So, a little cheeky one there for you folks, and make sure to apply it in your ranked game so everybody can call you sweaty and that they hate you and that they wish that your elo was theirs, but instead, obviously, it's on the other foot. So, deployable shield here for the top floor, past the memes and everything else in between. Parabellum really want to get up to this top floor and start working for Master. They do have Aska on the sledge, so they'll be really looking to try and use him to break up quite a bit of this flooring.
Away from that, things will go fairly quiet after the first 30 seconds have transpired. Mainly just Parabellum setting themselves up for the initial clear, but obviously not ready to pull the trigger on it just as of yet. Going to be continuing to wait out until they have appropriate intel, or they can find a play they can realistically make here. And it may very well fall to players like Achieved or Bolo that become that target for the initial execute here on PB's last attacking round. Drone starting to flood in here. It's going to reveal the positions of these players too, but as we have seen over the course of this half, TSM are not going to necessarily fear the revealing of their positions. They'll stick around for a little bit longer, ready to challenge the initial hop-ins. Here's going to be the issue though. As they lose players, they cannot maintain these positions anymore because flanks become a very viable way to kill them. But the drone going to be thrown over here at Bolo. Even though Chala has gone down, Bolo stays stalwart in his position behind the wall and is going to be able to exchange the kill back against Blaz, knocking out the Nomad before they can put down any of those air jabs inside of the building too. So that's a pretty big piece of utility now knocked out.
A huge piece from Parabellum removed, and Penguin now taking a lot of heat. Bolo is going to go down for the top floor, and that's going to give the man advantage over to Parabellum, but this timer could start eating at them depending on when they're able to transition this downstairs. They got the sludge in already, and he'll begin making it complicated to play inside of Dining. Achieve still holding on to Astro, and the remaining members of TSM locked into sight. Gio be playing behind Tetris, has a beautiful shot on Gunnar. Nitro sell out, won't take out the sledge, but Gunnar's now dead. It's a 3 versus 3. Aska can't find the angle onto the Tetris player as Gio, he somehow found the singular safe spot in the entire site, but now he's dead to Kool-Aid. Achieve trying to retake upstairs, he's found himself a sledge, but Aska wins out the fight. Achieve is going to want that one back as he's going to lean it all onto Merc's shoulders, and he can't get the kill either. It's Penguin from the rear for Parabellum to win out their offensive side.
PB make it work in their favor, and this is despite TSM being set up in quite a few power positions where they could have brought the round back under their control, whether it was Gio playing on the interior position in the site or the last second flank that we were seeing rotate its way upstairs. Unfortunately, the members of TSM just not able to make their shots land in that scenario, which left far too many opportunities for PB to excel their own game forward open, and as a result, they take control of a fourth round. They now have the lead at 4-2 here, being able to isolate out one final defense. They get their own opportunity to jump on the defensive side here and win some more rounds.
All right, well, this is where the rubber meets the road. Parabellum now with the defensive end and arguably the better side, but that doesn't mean that TSM can't start getting things back into their own good graces. They only need 2 rounds to tie things up, and it all starts here with AVG. Parabellum's going to be leaning into the Mira setup that we were talking about previously. We actually have some reinforcements going on downstairs, so we'll have to see how that affects things when TSM attempts to clear this out later on. They are bringing quite a few frag grenades. They have 4 of them, as they'll have Gio on the Nomad, and their overall offensive lineup really looking like they want to try and prioritize Master side.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Here comes TSM for the first time on their attacking side now. No surprises on the operator lineup, very similar to what we were seeing out of PB, if not the exact same thing, with maybe a few stylistic changes at best. PB also bringing out a very similar flair to what we saw from TSM. We are going to see the Maestro come out for PB, though, which I didn't see TSM use too heavily. That's going to be equipped by Gunnar. Obviously, inside of an AVG round, too, and you're going to want that all to be able to play out from the inside of Gun Vault or another power position.
Well, TSM's actually going to start setting things up over on the study side. Whenever you see the Nomad work her way in, you can always kind of bank on the fact that you could see a full clear, but not exactly just yet here from TSM. They could have seen that mirror setup and just called it back. Instead, the air jab's still amazing when it comes down to just preventing angles like just simply the study door from the top of main or things along those lines are always acceptable in a lot of different scenarios, so it's still going to be beneficial for TSM at the end of the day. Parabellum going drone hunting, but for Kool-Aid, he won't find too much. TSM are trying to drone out this setup as they've realized that the setup for Parabellum is decently complex, especially as it reaches farther over towards the master side with a thing like the mirror window and things along those lines. But for PB's sake, the majority of their forces are right around the site, and in fact, Gunner currently holding the top of red. Bolo and Merc trying to work their way through trophy and statuary. Merc right outside of the bore window, so they could press upon Gunner's location at a moment's notice.
Gunner ready to move up and challenge some of these quick entries against him, but not going to be able to find the challenge this early on in the round. TSM still building up the confidence to move forward over towards death's door. So we aren't going to see an early duel come out from either one of these squads. Away from that, however, Gunner still keeps a very aggressive position alive just beyond the edge of that doorway, ready to immediately challenge should the opportunity present itself. Good drone denial coming in from deeper in the site. 2 means that they are not going to be aware of Gunner's position until they're able to potentially get another one a bit deeper into it. Bolo, though, will be the first to be found out on this round. Penguin ready for the challenge sent out against him. There's the peek from Gunner, but it's a whiff. He goes down to Merc. Thankfully, Penguin has the exchange, and he makes sure that Merc can't go any further out of this situation. Penguin, in the meanwhile, nearly being knocked out by a nade. We'll see if the second one finishes the deal for Achieved. It will, as we see Penguin's foot falling to the floor for a second there. He gets knocked out with the destruction, and that will be an advantage to PB as we go into the final 30 seconds of play.
What a cheeky setup with the barbed wire on the maps table, though, making it to where you have to have that singular angle to see through it and see Penguin in the first place. But obviously, since he's able to just sit there, he can sit right inside of it and see all of the other players around the area. The smoke out to try and prevent Geo. He's going to have to hightail it out of there before he dies, especially after the impact nade from Eska. I think TSM have finally realized just how bad this situation is. Geo finds a hole, Blast finds a kill. Actually, no, Kool-Aid rather finds the kill. It just wasn't immediate. The SMG-11 will down the player in study. And there's the remaining members of Parabellum to take it to TSM and push us to a 5-2 lead, and a pretty strong one at that. This is Parabellum playing up to their absolute best caliber.
Gonna echo your thoughts with regards to that map table setup there. Wasted a huge amount of quintessential time for TSM to actually get into the site and be able to clear it with a bit of a time bank cushion so that they could set themselves up for a post plan appropriately. That pretty much immediately removed any additional bank they would have had going into that site and away from that too. Even though, yeah, Gunner's position in the corner didn't play out well, Penguin got the immediate exchange, and we weren't really able to see any additional follow-up from TSM, so it still worked out brilliantly for PB as they now continue to lock in even more of a lead over TSM here at 5-2. Just 2 rounds to go now. Parabellum will be able to excel more likely past TSM's position currently in 6th. We'll have to wait and see where exactly that leads them. As keep in mind, folks, we still have one more game to follow this as well. That quite honestly is probably going to change up our rankings as dramatically as this one will, given how close all of our teams are right now.
Absolutely. And speaking of changing things up, Bolo, Geo, and Merc all eyeing a different op. And Geo with the quite interesting one, at least initially, with the Blitz pick. But Blitz, really not the best op when it comes to trying to clear out a site like this. There's a lot of different ways you can sit pretty... Oh no, Blast. That is probably one of the worst spots.
Gio doesn't even know, I don't think.
One of the worst spots to run through inside the first 15 seconds on any map is probably Mudroom on Villa. I'm not even joking. That's like immediate crossfire, right off the first 10 seconds.
So. I don't think Gio managed to see the fact that
he probably doesn't even know that he did it. He has no idea until somebody draws the blood like stream there.
They're gonna have no idea that someone's 80 HP down right now on the side of PB. But either way, huge advantage at TSM once they figure it out. Blast as well was probably going to end up being one of the more aggressively leaned out players. Obviously, that's not really going to be the case anymore. He's still
that.
Yeah, he's still going to try, but unless he gets an outright flank, his chances of coming out on top of any sort of even gunfight are slim to none right now.
Yeah, nice little gust of wind will take him out, huh? So he's working his way over for the pantry stairwell. Awkward here, to be honest with you. This positioning for Blaz is really make or break. It's a pretty big coin flip. It just really depends on how TSM drones this out. He's worked his way back in, but oh, this is gorgeous here. no info downstairs, and this door actually has some holes in it that he doesn't have to make himself. So Blaz can just occupy this angle, and I can almost guarantee you that not a single member of TSM is going to check this when they walk in kitchen, because this is something that you just get used to. I mean, there's going to be a couple holes in some doors. Yeah, so there's really nothing to worry about. Achieved. He's looking back and forth. A phone call. That's a big one there, but they might not be close enough. Bolo's actually taken a lot of heat, and there it is. Yeah, that's what I was saying. With the phone call even going out, with that door being there, it muffles things quite a bit just with how Siege audio works. So that hole's got to be big enough, and then it's got to transfer through there. And also TSM is pretty far away from his location inside of Pantry there. So, I mean, given the circumstances, Parabellum, they're firing on all cylinders. I mean, they even have the stars aligning for him in a certain sense with, you know, plays like that.
Pretty sure playoff contentions are still alive and well for PB as well, so there's a lot to fight for inside of this. Yep, like you said, everybody except Mirage still has a chance. And it might be a bleak chance, but it's a chance indeed here, as TSM's Bolo nearly is lost to the Toxic Bay, being placed just as they were ready to swing into Astro. This will give the PB members a few extra seconds to analyze the scenario and potentially line up some flanks too. Oh nice. No, though, Kool-Aid has a belief that the downstairs part of the map is under their control, drops into it thinking he's going to be safe, only to walk directly into Achieved here. Another kill found by TSM as well. Geo finally able to take out a player fully as he knocks out Penguin, but responses from Gunnar are strong. He gets 2 trades, and now while Parabellum are heavily injured, they still have all of the angles needed to win out and shut down the execute from TSM as they forge
for TSM, and now it looks like they'll have to try and attack a kitchen dining setup. This is potentially our last round between PB and TSM FTX. And speaking of TSM, Geonitis, back in what we saw earlier, the Blitz, but it wasn't locked in. We'll see if it actually goes through this time.
I have a pretty big feeling it's going to end up staying, just because of the fact that we saw it get switched to in the middle of the pause.
Pantry rush?
No,
Pantry rush?
They got swapped out. Yeah, it's going to be a Dokkaebi instead. G always does this. There's like a few players keep doing this to us. Like
disappointment is measurable.
They bait these crazy picks when it like makes sense to actually do it, and then they don't do it. And it's like, man, I'm starting to get frustrated about it. But yeah, no, obviously we're not going to see him use that. Is going to be switching over, I believe. It won't even end up on the original Switch either. It's going to end up on a Nomad at the end of the day. And we'll see Bolo switch over to a Twitch.
I mean, if you really want to talk to him, I mean, you live in Vegas, so you could just, you know, roll on over there and have a very strong-worded conversation with Geo.
I know where he lives.
you do. I know where you sleep, Geo.
I actually don't.
Well, that's probably a good thing. I think Geo
I've been at most of the team houses, but I ended up losing the addresses so quickly I probably couldn't find my way back there if I tried.
Dude, the OXG house is a pretty good time. Had a pretty good time there when I was there. That was a long time ago, actually. Oh my goodness gracious. That was the Vegas Miner. Oh my gosh. That's when Rain Day was our host. What a guy, by the way. Amazing individual, and still doing some amazing things for esports as well, so shout out to him. But past that, this first opening minute really wasn't all that action-packed, folks. TSM has decided to start clearing through Study and try and get some control over AVG. Now, the big thing is, did they clear it correctly? Answer, no. Gunner's still here and behind the bar, and oh my god, Bolo, you're dead as right.
Surprised he didn't go for the melee kill there.
Dead as a doornail, and Gunner, yeah, just sit here. There's really nothing more to do. Just sit around, impact things out, be annoying, try and get another kill. I mean, you're probably gonna die. Yes, I was good. I swear to God, if he would have gotten out of there, John, I would have put the headset down and just left. There's no way that TSM can allow somebody to do that. You are one of the best teams in North America in the history of Rainbow Six, and you cannot allow something as simple as Gunner impacting out of the game's bar to let you not get that kill inside of Study. But big thing now for TSM, this timer really starting to eat at them as Gunner's eaten up quite a bit of this.
I would have been curious to see if Gunner could extend that a little bit further if he went out onto like balcony or something, but either way, that's a topic for the analysis desk as Merc is going to be able to make another impact frag here against PB. They have the player advantage now, but can they work it into the site? That's going to become the big issue. Keep in mind, we're in a downstairs hold right now. They still need to make that transition. That's going to be the biggest part of this, is now we got Blaz directly contesting, only for one, though, gets the confirmation onto Geo. There's a small opportunity for Blaz to escape and get res by Penguin, but I don't think Penguin wants to take the opportunity on it, so he's going to stay nice and tucked away inside of the bathroom. Merc will get that confirmation in as well. Achieved will knock out the only remnant of the defense remaining downstairs. It's all up to Penguin hiding in the bathroom, and he'll get found out pretty quickly too. TSM get a very one-sided round in their favor, aside from the shenanigans with Gunner, of course, and that's going to start to make up the difference here as they try to come back.
Yeah, Gunner's got to be a little salty about that. Doing so much for them inside of that opening moment. The missed drone from TSM that bags Gunner the kill, but past that, almost able to make it out as well. So now TSM able to stave off elimination as Parabellum still need one round to close things out. TSM 6-3 at the current moment. They're going to be shifting things up for the Mott team now here. As Gio will be tossing that in. Not going to be having too much of a change up across the board, though. Just the two French ops coming in. Bolo was already on the Twitch previously. Have the SAS op of Sledge in, as well as Ace and Yana. So fairly straightforward affair when it comes to the take for an AVG site. And with that opportunity presented in front of them, it actually seems like TSM wants to try and shift some things up. The Ying will come in. We saw her banned earlier on Oregon, but obviously ready to be played here for Villa.
Garhook's going to work its way into the lineup as well onto Merc, so very curious to see what exactly TSM want to build up, whether it's more of an aggressive swing into 90, being supported by the Ying Candelas. We had obviously a Montaigne teased from Gio, but that's been re-picked away as they needed to keep the composition a bit more mobile, and they needed some anti-roam, so that's why they're going to bring the Nomad back into the fold one more time here to potentially bolster up the lineup a bit further. PB showing us very much the same thing we've been seeing out of them for most of this half so far, so they're looking to still lock in round number 7 here and now, and what would be a huge victory for them. At a 7-3 upset against TSM. Some big points going on the board too that should surge them at minimum past TSM. As you can see at the top there, they have the same exact record right now, potentially into the top 4 as well.
Yes, indeed. First minute, TSM using this for most of their info game, seeing what's going on this base floor. Gio's going to apply an air jab to, I believe, the bottom of red, right up inside of the arch, so no one will be allowed to work their way towards piano any longer. TSM trying to set things up around the site for study. They'll have to deal with Eska around the main stairs in Kool-Aid that's playing on the bookshelf with his smoke nades. Be able to get rid of at least one of the drones here, but still plenty in the back pockets of TSM. This Kool-Aid will continue to be able to take those down, but that doesn't mean that the offense has to propel themselves anywhere. In fact, they can just wait things out and see how Parabellum want to try and fix things up near the mid-round. TSM really hasn't pushed themselves in any one way, so still extremely malleable as of now.
Half the round gone, however, so time will start to get into the way of TSM's greater plans if they don't have the additional time to set up whatever they want to go for here. You can see TSM starting to build up the confidence to go for the swing on main stairs. Candelas will make impact here, force the player into the corner, but oh no! They're not going to see Kool-Aid hiding out directly in the corner. He'll be allowed to just pump one right into Bolo. Now he can get in the way of the stairs execute too. A huge blunder from TSM, and it might very well cost them the game. Chala is the last player left standing, and that's it. Kool-Aid for one more as PB get it done and lock in the regulation victory against the world champs.
Sometimes it's the little things in life, folks, like misdroning somebody in a corner before you go for your execute. That's exactly what we see from TSM. Parabellum getting one over on the